The glass walls of Ashford Enterprises reflected the San Francisco skyline like a mirror of ambition. 23 floors up, Riley Morgan sat at her desk, fingers flying across her keyboard as she finalized the quarterly marketing report. 6 months into this job, and she still felt like an imposter sometimes, except when she looked at her numbers. Those didn't lie. Morgan, conference room in 5. Riley's fingers froze mid-keystroke. That voice. Low, commanding, with just a hint of a Korean accent on certain words. She didn't need to look up to know Victoria Ashford stood behind her, probably holding her tablet in one hand and her 4th espresso of the morning in the other. "Yes, Ms. Ashford," Riley managed, hating how her voice always got slightly higher around her boss. Professional. She needed to stay professional. Victoria's heels clicked away, and Riley exhaled slowly. Get it together. This was exactly why she'd started seeing that therapist Dr. Chen recommended. 6 months of working for the most brilliant, intimidating, and devastatingly beautiful woman she'd ever met, and she still got tongue-tied like a teenager. The conference room was already full when Riley arrived. Marcus from finance, Jennifer from HR, Kenji from product development. And at the head of the table, Victoria Ashford, in a charcoal Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than Riley's monthly rent, her signature red lipstick sharp as a blade. "Let's talk Q3 performance," Victoria began, sliding her glasses up her nose as she pulled up the presentation on the massive screen. "Morgan, your team's campaign for the Jensen account exceeded projections by 42%. Riley felt her cheeks warm. The data showed their target demographic was more active on TikTok than we initially thought, so we pivoted the budget. I read your report. Victoria's dark eyes locked onto Riley's, and for a moment the rest of the room seemed to disappear. Impressive work. I'm moving you to lead on the Castellano account. It's our biggest client. Think you can handle it? Riley's heart hammered. The Castellano account was a $15 million project. Absolutely. The corner of Victoria's mouth lifted, barely, but Riley had spent 6 months cataloging every micro-expression on that face. It was almost a smile. Good. See me after this meeting. We need to discuss strategy. Victoria's office was minimalist elegance. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a glass desk with exactly 3 items on it, laptop, Montblanc pen, photo frame facing away from visitors, and a leather chair that probably cost more than Riley's car. Close the door, Victoria said without looking up from her screen. Riley obeyed, trying not to notice how the afternoon light made Victoria's hair shine like silk. Stop it. The Castellano account is make or break for us, Victoria began, finally looking at Riley. She'd taken off her suit jacket, and her white silk blouse revealed the elegant lines of her collarbones. Riley forced her eyes to stay on Victoria's face. They're considering 3 agencies. We need to be perfect. I won't let you down. I know you won't. That's why I chose you. Victoria stood walking to the window. From this angle, Riley could see the small scar above her eyebrow, the one that made her seem almost human instead of some untouchable goddess of the corporate world. You remind me of myself when I was your age. Hungry. Determined. Willing to see what others miss. Riley's throat went dry. Thank you, Ms. Ashford. That means so much. Victoria. I'm sorry. Call me Victoria. At least when it's just us. Victoria's dark eyes found Riley's again. Ms. Ashford makes me feel ancient. Riley's dimple appeared before she could stop it. You're 34. Hardly ancient. You know my age? One perfect eyebrow arched. Riley felt panic rising. It was in the Forbes article. The one about, I don't make a habit of. Stop talking, Riley. Victoria's lips curved into a genuine smile, and Riley forgot how to breathe. Relax, Morgan. I'm flattered you read up on your boss. Shows initiative. The moment stretched, tension crackling in the air like static electricity. Then Victoria's phone buzzed, and the spell broke. That's all for now. I'll email you the Castellano brief tonight. Start thinking about concepts. Riley nodded, not trusting her voice, and fled. You're obsessed with her, Mia declared that evening, flopping onto Riley's couch with a wine glass in hand. Riley's best friend since college had a gift for cutting through nonsense. I am not obsessed, Riley protested, stirring her pasta with more violence than necessary. I admire her professionally. There's a difference. Uh-huh. And that's why you've mentioned Victoria did this, and Victoria said that approximately 17 times in the last hour? I haven't done that. Riley. Mia fixed her with a look. You have a screensaver of the company logo, which features her signature. You color-coded your notes from meetings with her. You bought red lipstick, which you never wear, because it's professional looking. Riley abandoned the pasta, slumping into the chair across from Mia. Okay, fine. Maybe I have a small, completely manageable, entirely professional crush on my boss. Small? Mia laughed. Babe, you're writing her name in the margins of your notebook like a 16-year-old. Riley's face flamed. I do not do that. Mia held up Riley's work notebook, open to a page where VA was doodled in elegant script along the margin. Evidence suggests otherwise. I hate you. You love me. I'm the only person who knows you're a disaster lesbian with a thing for powerful women who could crush you professionally and emotionally. Mia's expression softened. But seriously, Rye, this job is amazing for your career. Don't let your crush mess it up. I won't, Riley promised. It's just, she told me to call her Victoria today, when we're alone. Oh, honey, you're doomed. The next 2 weeks were a blur of strategy sessions, late nights, and moments that Riley would replay endlessly in her mind. Victoria, leaning over Riley's shoulder to point at something on the screen, her perfume, something expensive and subtly floral, making Riley's thoughts scatter. Victoria, laughing at one of Riley's presentation jokes during a team meeting, the sound so unexpected and genuine that Marcus nearly dropped his coffee. Victoria, working beside Riley at 11 p.m. on a Friday, both of them exhausted when she'd murmured, I'm glad you're on my team, Riley. And Riley had felt that simple sentence rearrange something fundamental in her chest. It was getting worse. And Riley had no idea what to do about it. TGF, Kenji announced 2 weeks later, raising his beer as the marketing team crowded into the bar across from the office. Riley laughed, clinking her glass against his. After 2 weeks of intensive prep for the Castellano pitch, they'd earned this. 1 drink, Riley had told Mia on the phone earlier. Maybe 2. Then I'm going home to sleep for 12 hours. That was 3 drinks ago. Riley! Do the thing! Jennifer was laughing, gesturing wildly. What thing? Riley giggled. When had she started giggling? The impression of Victoria in the budget meeting. Oh God, no. Come on! Riley stood, swaying slightly, and pushed her hair back in an imitation of Victoria's signature ponytail gesture. People. She dropped her voice an octave. I didn't build this company by accepting mediocrity. The numbers need to number better. The table exploded with laughter. That's not even what she said. Marcus wheezed. I'm drunk, Riley announced proudly, then immediately looked horrified. Oh no, I'm drunk. I have to do the thing. What thing? Riley pulled out her phone with the careful precision of the very intoxicated. When I get drunk, I call Mia. It's our system. She talks me down from doing stupid things. Responsible? Kenji approved. Riley squinted at her contacts, everything slightly blurry. There. Mia. She hit the voice message button instead of call. Whatever, close enough. Me, Riley began, wandering toward the bar's back patio for quiet. Mia? I did it again. I thought about her all day. Do you know what she did today? She smiled. At me. A real smile, not the scary CEO smile. And I just can't anymore. The cool night air hit Riley's flushed face as she pushed outside. I can't do this anymore, Mia. I can't keep pretending I'm not completely, pathetically in love with Victoria Ashford. It's been 6 months of torture. 6 months of watching her be brilliant and terrifying, and sometimes, when she thinks no one's looking, kind of sad. Like there's something lonely about her despite all her success. And God, I want to know everything. What makes her smile like that? What she thinks about at 2 a.m. Why she has that scar above her eyebrow. Riley's voice cracked. I think about her constantly, Mia. When I'm working, I'm wondering if she'll like my ideas. When I'm not working, I'm wondering what she's doing. Does she eat dinner alone in that huge office? Does she have someone waiting for her at home? The thought of her with someone else makes me want to break things, which is insane because she's my boss, and this is so inappropriate and I just can't. A laugh bubbled up, slightly hysterical. Remember when you said I was doomed? You were right. I am so doomed. Because I don't just want to work for her, Mia. I want to know her. All of her. The parts she keeps hidden behind the power suits and the intimidating stare. I want to be the person who makes her laugh like she did last Friday. I want to be the reason she smiles. Riley took a shaky breath. I'm in love with her. God, I'm in love with Victoria Ashford, and it's the most terrifying thing I've ever felt. And I can never, ever tell her. Because she's my boss, and she's brilliant, and she's way out of my league, and I would rather die than make things weird between us. So I'm just going to keep this inside and pretend everything is fine, even though I'm dying inside every single day. Riley? Jennifer's voice called from inside. We're ordering another round. Coming? Riley called back, ending the message. She sent it without checking, pocketing her phone. Inside, Kenji was doing an impression of Marcus from finance, and everyone was laughing. Riley accepted another drink, trying to drown the ache in her chest. She'd feel better in the morning. Riley woke to sunlight stabbing through her eyelids like tiny knives. Her mouth tasted like regret and cheap beer. Her phone was vibrating somewhere in the blankets. Make it stop, she groaned, fumbling for it. 12 missed calls from Mia. 17 texts. Riley's stomach dropped even before she read them. Riley. Answer your phone. Oh my God, Riley. Did you send me a voice message last night? Riley. I didn't get any voice message. Who did you send it to? Answer me right now. With trembling fingers, Riley opened her message app. The voice message she'd sent at 11:47 p.m. last night. To Victoria Ashford. No. Riley's hands shook so violently she almost dropped the phone. Her vision tunneled. This wasn't happening. This could not be happening. She played the message back, each word a fresh horror. I'm completely, pathetically in love with Victoria Ashford. 6 months of torture. I want to know everything. The thought of her with someone else makes me want to break things. 3 minutes and 47 seconds of career-ending, soul-bearing, mortifyingly detailed confession. Sent to Victoria. Riley ran to the bathroom and threw up. Breathe, Riley. You need to breathe. Mia's voice was calm through the phone, but Riley could hear the underlying panic. I can't breathe. I told her, Mia. I told her everything. I said I was in love with her. I said I think about her constantly. I basically described stalker-level obsession and sent it directly to her. Riley was pacing her apartment, still in last night's clothes, hair a disaster, life in ruins. Okay. Has she responded? Riley checked her phone for the 100th time in the last hour. No. Nothing. Which is almost worse. Maybe she's so disgusted she's already drafting termination papers. Oh God, I'm going to get fired and blacklisted. I'll never work in marketing again. I'll have to move to Alaska and become a fisherman. Riley, you get seasick in bathtubs. I'll learn. Mia was quiet for a moment. Has she read it? Riley's thumb hovered over the message thread. 2 blue check marks glowed next to the voice message. Delivered. Read. 8:47 a.m. She's read it, Riley whispered. Oh God, Mia. She listened to the whole thing. She knows. What are you going to do? Riley looked around her apartment, at the life she'd built here, the job she loved, the future she'd been planning. All of it crumbling because she couldn't handle her alcohol and had the coordination of a drunk toddler with her phone. I'm going to write a resignation letter, Riley said flatly. I'll send it tonight. I can't face her. I can't walk into that office on Monday and see the disgust on her face, or worse, pity. Riley, please don't do anything hasty. No, Mia. This is beyond fixable. I confessed love to my boss in a drunken voice message. There's no coming back from that. The best I can do is resign with whatever dignity I have left and hope she doesn't tell people why I left. Riley hung up before Mia could argue further. Saturday afternoon crawled by. Riley drafted and deleted 17 versions of her resignation letter. Each one felt inadequate. Dear Ms. Ashford, I'm resigning because I'm a disaster who can't handle her liquor. Dear Victoria, I apologize for the inappropriate message. To whom it may concern, I am a professional idiot. She finally settled on something clinical and brief. Dear Ms. Ashford, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from Ashford Enterprises, effective immediately. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. I will return company property on Monday and am happy to help transition my projects to another team member. Sincerely, Riley Morgan. Her finger hovered over send. Then her phone buzzed. A text from Victoria Ashford. Riley's heart stopped. We need to talk. My office. Monday, 9 a.m. sharp. That was it. No other context, no emotion. Just a summons to her execution. Riley spent Saturday night crying into ice cream, while Mia sent increasingly worried texts. Sunday was worse. Riley deep cleaned her apartment, went for a run, cleaned again, stress-baked 3 dozen cookies, and contemplated faking her own death. At 11 p.m. Sunday night, another text arrived. And Riley? Don't even think about not showing up. We will have this conversation. How did she know? Could Victoria read minds now, on top of everything else? Riley didn't sleep. Riley walked into Ashford Enterprises at 8:45 a.m., wearing her most professional navy suit, her hair in a neat bun, makeup covering the dark circles under her eyes. If she was going down, she'd do it with dignity. The elevator ride to the 23rd floor felt like ascending to the gallows. Marcus waved cheerfully from his desk. Big week ahead. Castellano pitches Thursday. Riley managed a weak smile. She wouldn't be here Thursday. 8:58 a.m. Riley stood outside Victoria's office door, hand raised to knock. You can do this. Just apologize, resign, and leave. Quick and clean. She knocked. Come in. Victoria sat behind her glass desk, wearing a black suit that made her look like a beautiful executioner. Her expression was unreadable. Close the door. Sit. Riley obeyed, perching on the edge of the chair like a bird ready to flee. Victoria folded her hands on the desk. I listened to your voice message. I know, Riley whispered. Ms. Ashford, I'm so sorry, and I understand if you want me to resign immediately, and I've already drafted my letter, and I promise I'll never contact you again. And I'm so incredibly embarrassed and ashamed. How many times? Riley blinked. What? How many times do you think I listened to it? This was a trap. Everything was a trap. I don't know. Victoria's expression didn't change. 7 times, Riley. I listened to your message 7 times since Saturday morning. Riley's breath caught. I don't understand. No, Victoria said softly. I don't suppose you do. Victoria stood, and Riley's instinct was to flee. But Victoria moved to the window instead, her back to Riley, silhouetted against the San Francisco skyline. Do you know why I made you lead on the Castellano account? Victoria asked. Because my campaign performance was strong? No. Victoria turned, and Riley saw something vulnerable in those dark eyes. Because I needed an excuse to work closely with you, to justify the late nights in my office, the strategy sessions, the time together. Riley's world tilted. I don't understand what you're saying. When you started 6 months ago, I noticed you immediately. Brilliant, driven, creative. I told myself it was professional admiration. Victoria's laugh was bitter. I'm a very good liar, Riley. Especially to myself. Ms. Ashford, please. I don't know what this means. Victoria, she corrected, her voice sharp. Then softer. Please. Just Victoria. Riley's hands trembled in her lap. What are you saying? Victoria crossed the office, not quite close enough to touch, but closer than a boss should stand. I'm saying that when I got your message Saturday morning, my first emotion wasn't shock or disgust or any of the things you're probably imagining. It was relief. Relief? Because I thought I was alone in this. Victoria's voice cracked slightly. I thought I was the only one losing sleep, the only one manufacturing excuses for interaction, the only one pathetically aware of every smile, every glance, every moment of accidental contact. Riley couldn't breathe. You've thought about me? Constantly. Victoria's admission was barely a whisper. Do you know how many times I've rewritten emails to you, trying to find the perfect tone? How I schedule meetings at times when I know you'll be in the office? How I learned you take your coffee with oat milk and 2 sugars because I overheard you once, and now I can't stop noticing every coffee you make. Victoria, please, I need to understand what's happening right now. When you wore that burgundy blouse 3 weeks ago, the one with the small buttons, I forgot what I was saying mid-sentence in the board meeting. Jennifer had to prompt me. The CEO of the company, speechless because my analyst looked particularly beautiful. Riley stood on shaking legs. Why didn't you say anything? Because I'm your boss. Victoria's composure cracked. I have power over your career, your livelihood. How could I possibly express feelings without it being coercive? Even if you felt the same, which I never let myself believe, how could you feel safe saying no to me? I would never have wanted to say no. Exactly. You would never know if your feelings were genuine or influenced by the power dynamic. And I couldn't live with that uncertainty. So I stayed silent, professional, slowly losing my mind every time you smiled at me. They stood 3 feet apart, the air between them charged with 6 months of suppressed tension. Your voice message, Victoria continued, her voice steadier now, told me things I'd only let myself dream about in weak moments at 3 a.m. That you think about me, wonder about me, that you notice when I'm lonely. Are you? Riley asked softly. Lonely? Victoria's smile was sad, desperately. Success is isolating Riley. People see the CEO, the Forbes list, the company valuation. They don't see the woman who eats dinner alone most nights, who works until midnight because an empty apartment feels too quiet, who built an empire but has no one to share it with. Riley's heart cracked open. The scar, above your eyebrow. Victoria's hand moved to touch it unconsciously. You asked about this in your message. Will you tell me? I was 7. My brother and I were playing in our grandmother's garden in Seoul. I fell from a tree trying to impress him. Victoria's expression softened with memory. He cried more than I did, held my hand the whole way to the hospital. You wanted him to be proud of you, Riley said. Even then. Always. Victoria's eyes met Riley's. He died when I was 19. Car accident. I built this company partially in his memory. He always believed I could do anything. Tears pricked Riley's eyes. I'm so sorry. I don't tell people that story. But you asked in your message who I am when no one's looking. That's part of it. The girl who lost her best friend and climbed relentlessly to hide from the grief. Riley closed the distance between them, just 1 step, but it felt monumental. Victoria, I need to know. What happens now? Because I meant everything in that message. I am in love with you. Completely. And if you feel even a fraction of what I feel, we need to figure out how to handle this. But if you don't, if this is just you being kind, please tell me now so I can start trying to get over it. I do. Victoria's voice was fierce. Riley, I have been falling for you since the day you challenged my strategy in your second week presentation. Everyone else in that room was terrified to disagree with me, but you stood up with data and conviction and proved me wrong. I was in awe. I was terrified. You hit it perfectly. Victoria's lips quirked. Do you know what I did after that meeting? I went back to my office and looked up your entire background, graduated top of your class, glowing recommendations. And I thought, this woman is going to be extraordinary. I had no idea how right I was. So what do we do? Riley asked. I can't work for you and be with you. That's an ethics violation. HR would have a field day and it would damage both our careers and the company, and I won't do that to you. I know. Victoria took a breath. Which is why I'm prepared to offer you 2 options. Riley waited, heart pounding. Option 1. You transfer to another department. Same level, same pay, but you'd report to Marcus or Jennifer instead of me. We keep professional distance at work, but outside these walls... Victoria's voice dropped. Outside these walls, I'd like to take you to dinner. Talk to you without worrying about power dynamics. See if this thing between us is as real as it feels. And option 2, You stay on my team. We remain strictly professional. We never speak of this conversation again. I will respect whatever boundary you set, Riley. But I needed you to know the truth. That your feelings aren't one-sided. Victoria's voice wavered. That I think I've been half in love with you for months and didn't let myself acknowledge it until your message forced me to confront the truth. Riley's mind raced. 6 months of pining. 6 months of thinking Victoria was unattainable. And now this impossible, wonderful revelation. I need to understand something, Riley said carefully. If I choose option 1 and transfer, you really want to date me? This isn't just adrenaline or novelty or some kind of temporary fascination that will fade once the forbidden aspect is gone? Riley. Victoria's hand lifted, hovering near Riley's cheek, not quite touching. May I? Riley nodded and Victoria's fingers brushed her face, gentle and reverent. I have imagined this moment in 1,000 variations, Victoria whispered. None of them captured how it actually feels. To touch you. To stand this close. To stop pretending. Riley's eyes fluttered closed. Victoria, I want option 1. I want the transfer. I want dinner. I want to know everything about you. The parts you hide from everyone else. Are you certain? The Castellano pitch is Thursday. If you transfer now, we'll need to restructure the entire presentation, and you've worked so hard on this project. I'll finish the pitch. I owe you that. I'll transition everything properly. But then, Riley opened her eyes, meeting Victoria's gaze steadily. Then I want to see where this goes, without job titles between us. Victoria's smile was radiant, transforming her entire face. I was hoping you'd say that. Can I ask you something? Anything. When you listened to my message 7 times, what part did you replay the most? Victoria's cheeks actually colored, a faint pink that made her seem younger, softer. The part where you said you wanted to be the person who makes me laugh. The reason I smile. Her voice dropped. No one's ever said anything like that to me, Riley. People want my money, my connections, my company's success. But you wanted to know what I think about at 2 a.m. You wanted to understand my loneliness. I still do, Riley said. I want to know all of it. It's not glamorous. The real me is messy, scared sometimes, dealing with imposter syndrome despite every success, missing my brother every single day. Victoria. Riley's hand covered the one still touching her cheek. I don't want the CEO. I want you. The woman who works too late because silence is hard, who remembers how I take my coffee, who smiled at my terrible joke about the Nielsen ratings because you understood the reference. That was a good joke, Victoria protested softly. It was awful. Yes, Victoria agreed, her smile growing. But you were so proud of it. Your dimple showed up. You noticed my dimple? Riley, I've cataloged every expression on your face. The dimple appears when you're genuinely happy, not just professionally pleasant. Your eyes get this specific shade of green when you're excited about an idea. You bite your bottom lip when you're concentrating. You gesture with your left hand when you're explaining something you're passionate about. Riley laughed, slightly breathless. I've done the same thing. I know you tap your Mont Blanc pen twice on the desk when you're about to deliver bad news. You take your glasses off when you want to intimidate someone. Your left eyebrow rises 1 millimeter higher than your right when you're amused but trying to hide it. We're both disasters, Victoria murmured. Matched disasters, Riley corrected. They stood there, hands intertwined, the morning sun painting everything gold. I should call Jennifer, Victoria said reluctantly. Start the transfer paperwork. HR will have questions. Will you tell them why? I'll tell them you've been offered a lateral position with more opportunities for growth. Which is true. Jennifer's been wanting a senior analyst on her team for months. And then? Victoria's thumb traced Riley's cheekbone. And then we maintain professionalism until the paperwork clears. 2 weeks, maybe 3. And then I'm taking you to the best restaurant in the city, and we're going to talk until they kick us out. I'd like that. Riley? Victoria's voice was uncertain in a way Riley had never heard. I need you to know, I've never done this before. Dated someone from work. Let someone this close. If I'm terrible at it, if I mess this up somehow, please be patient with me. Riley interrupted her with a soft kiss to her cheek, right below the small scar. We'll figure it out together. The Castellano pitch went flawlessly on Thursday. Riley presented with confidence. Victoria added strategic insights, and the clients were visibly impressed. They'd have an answer by Monday, but Riley could feel the win. Afterward, as the team celebrated in the conference room, Victoria caught Riley's eye across the room. A private smile, just for her. Jennifer approached Riley with paperwork later that afternoon. So transfer approved. You start on my team Monday. Excited? Very, Riley said honestly. Good. Though I have to say, Victoria seemed almost sad to sign off on it. You've been invaluable to her. Riley watched Victoria laugh at something Marcus said, her professional mask firmly in place. I think we'll both adjust. 2 weeks later, Riley stood in front of her mirror, smoothing down the deep green dress that matched her eyes. Her hair was down in soft waves, and she'd applied just enough makeup to look polished but natural. Her phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Outside. Take your time. Riley grabbed her purse and headed downstairs. A sleek black car waited at the curb, and Victoria stepped out to open the door for her. Riley's breath caught. Victoria wore a black silk dress, her hair loose for the first time Riley had ever seen. She looked breathtaking and nervous. Hi, Victoria said. Hi yourself. The restaurant was intimate and elegant. Exposed brick walls, candlelight, a menu with no prices. They slid into a private booth, and Riley felt the strangeness of it. After 6 months of carefully maintained professional distance, they were finally just 2 women on a date. This is strange, Victoria admitted, echoing Riley's thoughts. Good strange, but strange. We've never been together outside of work, Riley realized. This is our first conversation as just Victoria and Riley. Tell me something I don't know about you, Victoria requested. Something that never came up in strategy meetings. Riley considered. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a kid, obsessed with dolphins, had posters all over my walls. Victoria's laugh was delighted. What happened? I'm violently seasick. Realized this on a whale-watching trip when I was 12. Had to pivot my dreams, from dolphins to marketing. Quite a journey. Your turn. Tell me something the Forbes profile didn't cover. Victoria's expression turned thoughtful. I can't cook to save my life. When I'm alone, I eat cereal for dinner probably 4 nights a week. Frosted Flakes, specifically. Riley grinned. The CEO of a multi-million-dollar company eats Frosted Flakes for dinner? Don't judge me. They're great. Victoria's impression of Tony the Tiger was terrible, and Riley dissolved into laughter. Oh my God, never do that again. Noted. Victoria's smile was warm. But I made you laugh. That was the goal. The conversation flowed easily after that. Victoria talked about her brother, Daniel, who'd been her hero. Riley shared stories about her chaotic family in Boston. They debated books, discovered a shared love of terrible reality TV, argued playfully about whether pineapple belonged on pizza. Hours passed like minutes. I need to confess something, Victoria said as dessert arrived. I was terrified for this date. You? Terrified? You negotiate with venture capitalists for fun. That's business. This is... Victoria's hand found Riley's across the table. This matters more than any deal I've ever made. I didn't want to disappoint you. The real me isn't as impressive as the CEO version. Riley squeezed her hand. Victoria, I fell for you before I knew you were impressive. I fell for the woman who works too hard and hides her kindness, who remembered my coffee order and laughed at my bad jokes. The CEO thing is just wrapping paper. Beautiful wrapping paper, though. You have to admit the power suits are nice. The power suits are extremely nice, Riley agreed, her gaze appreciative. But I prefer this. You, relaxed, hair down. Admitting you eat cereal for dinner. Victoria's expression turned serious. Riley, I want to do this right. I want to take you on actual dates. Meet your friends. Learn what you're like on Sunday mornings. Figure out if this thing between us is just chemistry or something real. It's real, Riley said softly. I already know it's real. But I want all of that too. The slow build, the discovery. No rushing. No rushing, Victoria agreed. Then hesitantly, though I'd very much like to kiss you goodnight, if that's not rushing. Riley's dimple appeared. I think we've waited long enough for that. 6 months later, Riley sat in Jennifer's team meeting, confidently presenting her latest campaign results. Across the office, visible through the glass walls, Victoria was in her own meeting. Their eyes met briefly. Victoria's left eyebrow rose 1 millimeter higher than the right. Riley bit her lip to hide her smile. After work, they met at Riley's apartment. Victoria had a key now, arrived still in her work clothes but with her hair already falling from its ponytail. Rough day? Riley asked, pulling her into a hug. Long day. Better now. Victoria buried her face in Riley's neck. How was your presentation? Killed it. Jennifer's submitting me for the Marketing Excellence Award. That's my girl. Victoria pulled back to kiss her properly. I'm so proud of you. You can't say that. It's biased. I'm not your boss anymore. I can be as biased as I want. Victoria kicked off her heels, immediately losing 3 inches of height. What's for dinner? And don't say we're cooking because you know I'm useless. I ordered Thai. It'll be here in 20 minutes. Perfect. Victoria collapsed onto the couch, pulling Riley down with her. Tell me about your day. The non-work parts. Riley settled against her. Mia wants to meet you, officially. She's convinced you're made up. I met her at your birthday party. She says that doesn't count because you were both on your best behavior. She wants to interrogate you properly. Victoria groaned. Fine. But I reserve the right to bring up embarrassing stories you told me about her. You wouldn't. I absolutely would. Mutually assured destruction. They bickered playfully until the food arrived, ate dinner while debating whether to watch their trashy reality show or the documentary Victoria had been wanting to see. They compromised and watched both, eventually ending up tangled together in Riley's bed, talking in the dark. Can I tell you something? Victoria murmured against Riley's hair. Always. That night you sent me the drunk voice message. I've never told you what I did right after listening to it. Riley shifted to look at her. What did you do? I called my therapist on a Saturday morning. Emergency session. Told her everything. That I'd been lying to myself about my feelings for you. That I was terrified and exhilarated and had no idea how to handle it. What did she say? That sometimes the scariest risks are the most worthwhile. That I'd spent my whole life controlling everything, but love requires surrendering control. Victoria's fingers traced patterns on Riley's shoulder. She asked me what I was more afraid of, the risk of trying or the regret of not trying. Smart therapist? Very. I've been seeing her weekly since then. Working through my control issues, my fear of vulnerability, my tendency to use work as armor against loneliness. Riley pressed a kiss to her collarbone. How's that going? Better. Slowly better. Having someone I can be myself with helps. Victoria's voice dropped. Riley, I love you. I don't think I've said it clearly enough. Not drunk in a voice message. Not implied in a dozen other ways. Just, I love you. You make me want to be brave. Riley's heart swelled. I love you too. Have since about week 3 of working for you, when you stayed late to help me fix that data error I made. You could have been angry, but instead you ordered pizza and taught me a better system. I remember that night. You had marinara sauce on your nose. I wanted to kiss it off. You should have. I was your boss. Fair point. Riley grinned. Good thing you're not anymore. Very good thing. Victoria pulled her closer. Best decision I ever made, letting you transfer. Best drunk decision I ever made, confessing my feelings. They laughed together, the sound soft in the darkness. Outside, San Francisco glittered with possibility. Inside, 2 women who'd found each other despite power dynamics and professional boundaries held each other close. It hadn't been easy. The transfer paperwork, the HR discussions, the careful maintenance of professional boundaries until everything was properly documented. But they'd done it right, taken their time, built something real. And when Riley eventually fell asleep in Victoria's arms, she dreamed not of the CEO or the corner office or the impressive resume, but of the woman who ate Frosted Flakes for dinner and called her at 2 a.m. just to hear her voice. The woman who'd listened to a drunk confession 7 times and found the courage to reciprocate. The woman she loved.